Now I'd like to call Mr. Bernstein to tell you about a few cases that he was involved in. Thank you very much.
You're involved in an accident and you're hurt. You hurt your neck, you hurt your back, your shoulder, your knee. And you try to deal with the pain that you have. You hope it goes away. But if it doesn't, and the accident is someone else's fault, it's time to find a lawyer. Now, if you're involved in that accident and it's someone else's fault, you find a lawyer. That lawyer will collect all the information about your accident and your injury and send it off to the insurance company for the person who caused your accident. And that insurance company, and I know this because I've worked for insurance companies for 10 years, they'll evaluate your case. And they'll come up with a number that they think is reasonable to settle your case. Now, I will tell you, sometimes they get it right, and we take the settlement, and the case is over, and everyone's happy. But that doesn't always happen. And when they don't offer the right amount of money for your case, the only way that you will get the right amount of money for your case is by having a trial. And when it's time to have a trial, you better have a very good trial attorney, or you will not get what your case is worth. One of the most important things, if not the most important thing, I have to do as a trial attorney is communicate your case and your injuries to 6 people you never met, don't know anything about you, and at the very beginning they really couldn't care less. They've been pulled away from their family, from their friends, plunked down into a jury box in a courtroom, and instructed that it is their civic duty to listen to your case. Now, that doesn't exactly motivate people to do the right thing. So we have to make them care about you, make them care about your case, make them care about your injury. And the way we do that sometimes is not only by having you testify and your doctors testify, but we need to show them things. And all it really took in that case, we just took a picture of the damage to our client's car. It was probably the most important exhibit in the entire trial. So we let the jury know what the car looked like as a result of the accident, the damage. I'll just quickly take a pass here. And after the jury was shown this picture of the car, the jury understood that our client very easily could have suffered a neck injury as a result of, this serious car accident. The defendants basically told the jury the case was worth nothing, our client was exaggerating, and after a couple of days of trial and this exhibit, the jury awarded this client $400,000, mostly because of this picture. We had another case, again, this is one that I handled, in Nassau County. Now, Nassau County jurors are notoriously cheap. Even if you're hurt and the accident is someone else's fault, they really don't want to give you what the case is worth. You really have to give them a reason to award money. They're worried about their insurance, they're worried about their property taxes, and most of the time they're not really all that concerned about your injury. So in this one particular case, we actually agreed ahead of time that yes, my client is very seriously hurt, and we stipulated that the damages, meaning we came to an agreement, the damages would be $600,000, as long as you can prove to the jury that the accident was the defendant's fault. So the whole case was about who was at fault for the accident. And again, this particular case in Nassau County really came down to one piece of evidence. We took a picture of the accident location, had it blown up and brought into the jury. And again, I'll walk it in the back for a second, but this was the road that the defendant was driving on, going this way just before the accident. Our client was driving this way. And the most important thing in this picture was that the defendant, you got it, that's exactly right. The defendant, in their direction of travel, had this sign with the 4 letters on it. The red sign with the 4 letters. So the entire case came down to 4 letters. S-T-O-P. And, Nassau County's still a little tough even with the stop sign. It took them 4 hours to finally decide that, yes, the defendant was completely at fault for going through a stop sign, when in the Bronx County, the case would have been over in 5 minutes. This story I happen to really like. I've told it many, many times, but I happen to like it, and I'm actually very proud of this case. I was representing a girl who was involved in an accident. And this case was only about her injury. The defendant was automatically at fault for the accident because they hit into the rear of her car, totaled her car. She had a 1.5 years of physical therapy. And for 4 years until the trial, that insurance company kept telling us she's not hurt, she's exaggerating, and just to avoid a trial, we will offer you $3,000 to settle this case. Okay, so client took the witness stand, and while she was on the witness stand, she started to cry when she was explaining to the jury how she had pain in her neck and back every single day. It affected her while she was driving, when she was going to school, and when she was washing her hair. She broke down crying. And if I remember this, one of the jurors was affected by this and was crying also. So went back to the defendant's insurance company. You saw what happened in court. How much do you have for us? Said, well, we have $3,000 to settle the case. Okay, we put her doctor on the witness stand who used this exhibit. This is an exhibit from that trial. This was her actual MRI films. We had them blown up. An artist colorized them so that her doctor could explain to the jury where she had a problem with the discs in her neck and why it causes her pain in her neck and back on a day-to-day basis. And then the defendants brought in a doctor. The defendants are allowed to do this. They're allowed to have our clients examined. And their doctor took the witness stand and at first tried to say, there's really nothing wrong with her neck and there's nothing wrong with her back. Except we then confronted him with this exhibit. And he admitted in front of the jury that yes, our client is suffering from a disc herniation in her lower back, and there is a problem with one of the discs in her neck. And then he tried to say, well, we know there is a problem with the discs, but it's all pre-existent and it's degenerative, it happens over time. Except, she was only 19 years old. So, after their doctor made this admission to the jury, and we went back to the defendant's insurance company. You saw her cry. You know what injury she has. You know how it will affect her for the rest of her life. Your own doctor admitted she has the problem. Let's talk settlement. How much do you have to settle the case? $3,000. Jury goes out to deliberate, and they passed one note out. Now again, it's Nassau. It's a little difficult, but they passed a note out, and it said, could you please read back the jury charge about the future loss of enjoyment of life? Now, you had to know at this point, this jury is giving this young girl money. Went back to that insurance company one last time. How much money do you have to settle this case? What did they tell them?
$3,000.
$3,000. About a half an hour later, the jury came back, and they awarded her $550,000 for her injury. Again, it's Nassau County. The insurance companies know it's difficult. And if you're not prepared for trial, they will force you to try that case. You better be ready. We were ready. We prepped her. We prepped the doctors. We were ready for their doctors. And the jury felt for her. I mean, they cared about her. So you need a trial attorney that cares about you. You need a trial attorney that can make the jury care about you. And ultimately, if the jury cares about you, they will award you every penny your case is worth. Thanks for your time.